Hey there, you guys. So I thought it would be a good time to come out here and show you guys what the garden's looking like in July this morning because we might get rain later today. The weather's been pretty sporadic. So I thought we'd take a look at how everything is growing. You know what? We're going to start over here because I'm really excited about this. I got these peppers planted a couple weeks ago and they are, I think there's 41 down this entire row. On the outside of the fence, and they look amazing since I've got them planted. They were like that yellow chartreuse green, and they've completely darkened up, and they're putting on all this new growth in here, and I'm just so excited. So most of these in here are sweet mini peppers all the way down, and then I have some, where those flags start, we have some red bells and then green bells at the end. And then what I ended up doing, we pulled the peas out, and I planted some pole beans on here to see if they could crawl up this and kind of, be interesting. But I still had really bad germination with that, but I do have some up. So it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those pole beans up. And I did do another planting of beans over there, and they never came up. So tough luck. And the tomatoes along this fence are doing pretty well. Some are really slow, but some look pretty good. And I'm pretty happy with how these are doing. These are pretty disease-free. And they just look really good. So out this way, we start looking at the corn and the pumpkins and the watermelons back there. And the deal with the corn is that we've just really struggled with germination this year. I don't know if it's because it's been so doggone blasted hot. We've had like 2 weeks in a row with 100-degree days, and it was only June. So I don't know what July is going to look like. But we have some seeds that germinated that we just replanted of corn here to see. And then a lot of this corn has put on like all these stalks. So I don't know what the deal with all of that is. It's a little crazy. So hopefully it won't. This is the corn that survived, and it's come up, and it seems to be thriving pretty well. I think that side might have come up better than this side. And I don't know if that's seed or compost or weather. I mean, it could be such a variety of different things. But I was looking online, and I noticed a lot of people who lived in Georgia were struggling with that, like, really hot heat, really burning their gardens. So I think that's probably what it was. And this one's so tiny, but look at that. It's already wanting to send off a tassel. The variety we got planted in here is Silver Queen, and we did get the seeds from Lowe's, just from Furrymore. So I don't know, maybe we need to try a different seed. Over here are the pumpkins. Now, I've never successfully grown pumpkins before, so this is the first year that I've given a big space like this to pumpkins. They've never had this much space. And I had one hill knot germinate completely and entirely, and I replanted that twice, and it still hasn't come up. I'm just going to throw that in there so it's not creeping out into the yard. But all the others came up pretty good. The only thing I'm seeing is I see a little powdery mildew over here, and I'm pretty sure pumpkins are prone to that. Like, I'm like, But anyways, so I'll take care of that as ASAP. But they look really good. And I found something super, super exciting in here the other day. I've been keeping my eye on this. It's a pumpkin. Look at that. It's a gorgeous pumpkin. And I think I traced the vine back. It was a little difficult, but I think the variety is pie pumpkin. So I think it's a sugar pie pumpkin. It'd be really cool if it wasn't, but I think that might be the variety it was. And then there's another one. Let me see if I can dig around in here without, right there. See that? So exciting. So I made sure to hand pollinate this one. Like, I've been keeping my eye on this one over here, so I hand pollinated it just to make sure. This one in here just was like a sweet little surprise. So that's really exciting. So those are our only 2 pumpkins out of this whole space so far. So I'm interested to see how many we end up with in this area. And I think I'm going to put cardboard underneath that one right there poking through to make sure it doesn't rot. And then these 2 hills on the end were saved pumpkin seed from store-bought pumpkins. And they have really disliked the heat. A lot of their blossoms have just fried off. Oh my goodness, I see another pumpkin, look. Oh, exciting. Let's see. I think that is, it's on this vine goes back. That should be a sugar pie pumpkin. That's what that should be. I do see a little bit of like yellowing blossom rot here. Oh, not blossom rot, powdery mildew, so I'll deal with that. But that's exciting, so that's a third pumpkin. And come out here and start marking with flags. That's exciting. Our watermelons are looking pretty good. Like I said, the corn looks a little better over here. I had more uniform germination. But watermelons do typically really well down here. Like, you can just throw a seed in the dirt and not have to think about it. And I do see that we have a crimson sweet melon right here going on, looking good. That is a crimson sweet, and that's the only one so far. And then I don't see any Charleston Gray watermelons in here at all. Oh, I take it back, look. Oh, there's one. That's exciting. Don't they look like cucumbers? I love Charleston Grays. They are so cool. So as long as that doesn't, once they kind of form like this, you just keep your eye on them and hope that they don't get like any sort of blossom rot or really anything like that, because sometimes the blossom rot won't show up until they're big, huge mountains, which is really annoying, but it is what it is. But that's exciting, so we're really looking forward to that. And I know that's not a Jubilee, because Jubilees look like Crimson Sweets, but like the shape. So that is definitely Charleston Gray. And I do see some baby melon right there, and a baby melon right there. Those are both oblong shaped watermelons, so that's exciting. And then over here we have, I think there's 6 sugar baby icebox melons. So we have 1, 2, I don't see 3, where's 3? 3's right there, 4, 5, and 6. So those are pretty cool. This was the first one to come up, and I don't see anything going on with it. I always struggle telling when these ones are ripe, so we shall see what the deal is with that. Now we're gonna walk over this way. This is where the cut flowers are, and then this is like where the cucumbers and the cantaloupe are growing on this fence. And the cut flower area, I'm not upset with it or disappointed at all. It didn't do super well, and that's okay. Like, I'm not tore up about it because it's cut flowers. So these are the sunflowers that decided to come up. I know there's weeds, we need to weed, but like I said, I'm not too tore up about this space. It's not like on the top priority list. But here are some sunflowers that are budded up. And what's really nice too is that they're small, so they'll fit in a vase really nicely, because that's what these are grown for. I think growing sunflowers for vases is just lovely, and so that will give us several sunflowers. And once those are cut, I'll remove the plants and I will put in zinnias, I think, or transplant or whatever. And then I weeded out this space because I was trying to get to the cosmos, because we have some cosmos that are up. And some of them are looking really good. Like this one here is really big cosmos. Like, it's gorgeous. And then some of them are really tiny because they were shrouded by the weeds. So I just stuck a stick in the ground so I'd be able to find them, because some of them are really, really small. And I marked them all out, and then I started weeding. And this little portion here was sunflowers that never came up. So what we'll do is we'll just either transplant some zinnias or plant some zinnia seeds or something, because our initial plan was to go zinnias all the way down, which in hindsight, seeing how the germination was, probably should have done that. But either way, it's good to have a little variety, and I'm glad we tried. So maybe next year, depending on how these things perform, once they start blooming and growing more, we'll make decisions based off of that. This is that variety of zinnia that we planted that was supposed to be stripy. And it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4 plants, 5 plants up. And this 5th one bloomed. Look how pretty it is. Oh my goodness, I'm just like in love with this. It's so beautiful. I love it. The stripy colors. Woo! There was a bee. There was a bee, okay. But I just love Love that zinnia. And then over this way, we have, what is planted over here? I know, weeds, right? But it's another kind of cosmos that actually has been blooming. There's petal evidence on the ground, but this is the plant, and it is, once again, shrouded by weeds, so it's really easier to tell in person, but it's a really pretty color. And I have another one there that bloomed, and then there's like one right there. And so I'll come in here once again with the sticks, mark out the plants, because I see a plant there, there's a plant, there's a plant. I now know why flower farmers use the plastic and just like black plastic out of their rows and punch holes in it, because the weeds are unbelievable. But these are already blooming in here, so I need to come in here and weed out. And then we have the zinnias, which was the initial plan to begin with. And this side of the row came in really poorly because we used old seed, but this side was new seed. So we probably just need to, and what we're thinking we'll do is we'll come in here and weed, and then we'll separate these out because they're really thickly planted. There's not enough, nutrition to keep that stable. So we will either thin out, or we will like transplant them kind of around, maybe throw some down there, and salvage those. But they are blooming and they just look so pretty. There's a bee on that one, I won't touch it. But I just love zinnias. I think they're the bomb. I just love them. So these are blooming in here, like I said, weeding, thinning, that all needs to happen, but this is definitely not priority. It's just one of those fun projects that have been back here. Now, I didn't talk about the fence, so we're gonna go backtrack this way on the fence. And I replanted cucumbers. They never came up. I planted a bunch of old herb seed. It never came up. So we have some cucumbers here, and sad looking cucumber there, another spindly cucumber, and then another spindly cucumber, and one of those ones that I replanted that came up. And I replanted them every 6 inches, so I don't know if it wasn't enough water, poor nutrition, but I didn't have good luck with that. And then, oh, there's a cucumber. Would you look at that? It's kind of funny looking, isn't it? It's kind of like bloated. That's interesting. So that cucumber, and I think the varieties on these are, let's see, I know one of these has a black widow on it, so I gotta be careful. Ooh, National Pickling, I think is what this one is, right here. And then this plant is Bait Alpha all the way, and then it looks like this plant, which is doing really good. I want to say that's National Pickling. Is that National Pickling? It's a pickling variety. Oh, it's a garden bed pickle. Okay. So I really like the garden bed pickle. It's doing really well. There's cucumbers on it. All in here. And we will pick them and use them as slicing cucumbers, because we didn't have a good enough batch come in to do any pickling with. And then I have some cantaloupe here. I think this is a thalia. And I have some cantaloupes, and actually this one looks a little, I don't know, looks a little yellow, doesn't it? Got another one there. So they're just kind of scattered out through there. It's cantaloupes the rest of the way down. That might be the flag right there. That's like got a black widow in it. I can't remember. I need to kill it. It's a brown widowed spider, but it's still poisonous. It's got the red hourglass and all that jazz, so I need to make a mental note of that and deal with it. And here are our tomatoes. And the reason I started on this side was because I wanted to show off these marigolds because of how beautiful they look. And I love these. And they're just so pretty. The sun's coming up, so it's getting shadowy, but don't they just look so pretty? I just love them, and they're getting a really good size on this end of I have them planted on the opposite end, but they're a lot smaller, so I'm really loving what's going on at this end. And the variety of these marigolds, which they're just my favorite now, are Boy Oh Boy. And then I also have a zinnia that popped up that I planted right here, and it's doing fantastic. And I've pinched it back in here. I don't know if you can see that, but I pinched it. It's a little dark. Pinched it, and it branched out, and now instead of one bloom or one bud, I have one there, and then these, one there, and then these little areas in here, will bloom as well. So I'm really happy with that one. And it's the same thing I did with that one there. That one popped up, I left it in the okra row, and I just pinched it and it bloomed a lot. And it's just got the most gorgeous blooms, and I just love it. It makes my heart really happy to see that, to see that out here. And the okra looks pretty good. There's some chunky okra right there. I haven't been out here in a while. It's a pretty good sized okra. Okay, so I got a little distracted. We were going back to the tomatoes. So this year, the deal with the tomatoes is I have a new disease this year that I've never had before. So I would tell you that last year was probably my best tomato year I've ever had. This year's coming at a close second because of how much fruit is on these plants. So these plants have a lot of fruit, and that's the most important thing because that's what I want. But I also do want healthy plants. And like I said, I've got something new going on this year, and maybe it's like black spot or something like that. But let me see if I can get this to focus. Oh, that's a good one. Let me see. See that? I have no idea. Whoops. I have no idea what that is. That's new to me. So I am treating it with baking soda water. Yeah, I'll leave it linked in the description box so you can see what I'm using. But it's basically baking soda and water, and you spray it on your plants. And then there's also a recipe where you use milk. You use whole milk, and you mix it with water, and you spray it on your plants. And so I'm just going to kind of throw everything at it because I want to try and nip this and get it as soon as possible because I don't want this to continue because a lot of the new growth looks really good. So if I can kind of get the old growth at bay and then get it cut off later, because like if I was just to cut it off all now, I would just have these like sticks of plants and that would be not good. But if I could kind of get it under control and then get some healthy looking new growth pushed out forward, then I could go back and cut that back later and hopefully get it under control and at bay. But lovely fruits, and I'm very happy with how the fruits are looking. Here's my coveted black crims that I love so much. Here and here, there's a grape tomato. I love the way the clusters look. There's another grape tomato. And I noticed this year, it looks like I have some gorgeous forming, like gorgeous looking tomatoes. Like usually you kind of have those like just kind of circular round ones, but I got some lovely like Cinderella pumpkin shaped ones, which I just love. Those beautiful. I have some Brandywines right here. Look at these. Gorgeous. It's a little cat-faced, but it's okay. I love it. So the plants are looking okay, like I said. I think last year was better, but fruit-wise, I think we're okay. These are Romas over here. That one fell over. So looking pretty good. We looked at the okra. I need to come in here and pick okra. I'll wait and grab clippers. These are the smaller marigolds at the end of these rows. Just not as, wow. Oh my goodness, look. Oh, I'm gonna eat that. Tastes like summer. I love that. So anyways, that was fun. So, so there's the okra. It looks pretty good. I will tell you that I did not thin it this year. You plant them like you plant them pretty close together. And I had to do a second planting of all my okra. And because of that, I don't know, I didn't plant it anywhere else, so it's just here. So I just didn't thin it, and I don't know if that was the right thing to do or not, but it looks pretty good. Like usually when I thin it, I have these tall kind of leggy looking plants, but it looks like a really full row. So I don't know, maybe I should or shouldn't have thinned it, but in my experience with growing okra so far, it's not doing any worse planted this close together. So here is a better look at those tomatoes that are planted on this side of the fence. Looking great, completely disease-free. So whatever those other tomatoes have, these do not have it. I need to take down some of these lower leaves. But yeah, so these are looking pretty good. So I'm not touching these with the same clippers that I use on the other tomatoes. So looking pretty good, pretty happy with those. So I know the weeds are looking pretty bad in these two pathways, but these black-eyed peas just look amazing, and I'm so unbelievably happy with them. every year I'm pretty happy with them, to be honest. So this is our 3rd year in a row growing them. And they are ready to be picked. I let them dry for the most part on the plants. And really, it's just a matter of coming out here, picking them, throwing them in the basket, and dealing with them. Because once you pick them, you have to shell them. So basically, you can pick them when they're like this. You can pick them like that. There's no rules to when you can pick them. But I let the majority of them dry. And then you'll have a mixture of like dry ones and non-dry ones. And you just blanch them and throw them in the freezer. That's what we do. And we have tons of these in the freezer. And so we're going to get a pressure canner. And we're going to try and pull all the old ones out of the freezer, cook them, and then can them up. Because you do have to have a pressure canner to can these. And we do eat a lot of black-eyed peas. So these are another crop that does really well in Georgia. And I really enjoy growing them because it's just really nice to see something in your garden that you put little to no effort in, and it does really, really well. It's very rewarding feeling. Now we get over to this is where the garden kind of starts to go downhill from here, to be honest, because this entire area has been frustrating. And so what we have going on in these hills are honeynut squashes. And there's nothing wrong with the squash themselves. They are wonderful and delicious. Bada bing, bada boom. Love these squashes. And once again, I will leave them linked in the description box below. But we adore these squashes. They are so delicious. But this year, the pickle worms really went after the squash plants. And I don't know if this one, but you can see where the pickle worms have actually bored into, you see this stem right here, they bored into the plant itself. And so there really isn't any cure for that other than pulling out the entire plant and burning it and then starting again. And these are our winter squash, and I might have time to do that, but I don't have enough seed, and I'd have to order the seed, and I don't know, there is produce on it and the plants are still alive, and you can see like that one needs to come up because its vine is completely dead from where the pickle worms killed it. But that's what the squash looks like when you're harvesting it. That's what it looks like. It just looks orange and pretty. So I really love these. So these are so delicious with butter, and they're just, oh, they're amazing. So but anyways, that's what's going on with these plants. And they have a lot of squash bugs on them. So I think what I'll come out here and do is I'm going to spray. What am I going to spray on them? I can't remember. There's something I'm going to spray on them, and I just can't think of it at this moment. But I think it's cedarwood essential oil is supposed to do. It's supposed to, they really don't like that. So I might try and come out here and do that and try and nip that in the bud. But either way, here are some more squashes. And the squashes look super good. It's not the squashes, it's not the plant's fault. It is solely the pests' fault this year. And I just adore, look at the coloring on this. It's just so beautiful. So, like I said, these are small squashes, but they are just delicious, 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 delicious. So then here is the sad green bean row, and you'd think 3rd time's a charm, but I've planted this again, and there's nothing up here. Whoops. There is nothing growing over here at all. Not the first seed up. So I don't know what the deal is. I soaked this batch of seed. Maybe I'll try and pop another batch in here non-soaked to see if that does something. But these plants finally greened up. They look really good now, so that's a bonus, but not enough of anything to do anything with. So either way, that's pretty annoying, but c'est la vie. Over here we have this is hold on, this is butternut squashes. Okay, not honey nuts. These are honey nuts. Butternut squashes are those big ones. And the vines look pretty good. I mean, they're pretty small. I've never grown them before, so I don't know how big these vines are supposed to get. I don't know. The honey nuts stay pretty small, but I don't know about butternuts. But there are some blossoms in here. They're starting to kind of grow out a little bit. We need to come out here and weed. I'll probably weed this row or this row 1, throw cardboard down just so to keep the weeds at bay so they can grow on top of that. And I had a couple, that one's really small. That one died. That one died, and that one died, but it is what it is. The two at the end are still chugging along. That little one's like, I can do this. So those don't look half bad, but the summer squash is giving me grief. And I've never had problem with summer squash before. Summer squash is one of those tried and trues where you just throw a seed in the ground and you get an abundance. And for some reason, that's not happening. I don't know. I'm going to blame it on the heat. I'm going to blame a lot of this, what's been going on the heat, because guys, this is what the garden's like looking this July, but we had 2 weeks in June that were 100 degrees like all week, and we had days that were like 100, 103, 105, 100, and it was just like, oh my goodness gracious. And that was in June. And usually we don't have like our hottest days until July. Sometimes even August is when we have like our hottest day, and then things start to cool down. And so we just had our hot days really early this year. So it could be just that it was so hot, the plants did not have time to establish properly and have time to, you know, kind of become well established until they could handle the heat. But it's just been a really, really, really hot year. And it's partly why I'm doing it in the morning, because the sun is just now coming up above the clouds and it's really hot. The squash plants that did come up, we have these two. We did buy some plants, I'm not gonna lie. We did buy some squash plants. Like, those two are bought and they look funny. But these were ones started from seed. I believe they're zucchini, and they're looking the way that I kind of hoped they would. They're a little on the small side, but they look pretty good. And would you look at that? Oh, that's the worst. That really is. Would you get a load of that? Oh my word. Those dang pickle worms, I swear. Just can't seem to catch a break. Well, that's disappointing. That really is disappointing. Because I had high hopes for these. But those dang pickle worms just can't leave well enough alone, can they? And this one had babies. Look at this. This one had little baby zucchini on it that I was looking forward to. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and just plug forward with the initial plan, which is to put more summer squash in here. It is a fall thing, so you can replant it in the fall. So I'm just going to keep replanting it until I get something. Because, like I said, these are tried and true, so I don't know what the beef is this year. I think it's too hot, but that is disappointing. I did not see that coming. So with this space in here, the collard greens were here, and they are gone now. And it's like grown over into this massive 8-foot wide path. And I'm probably going to just take the big tiller, like our gas tiller, and I'm probably just going to run it down this whole thing and then remake a row. That's probably what I'll do. That is probably what I'll do. And then over here, I'll probably do summer squash. Over here, I need to get these weeds moved. I just started picking weeds and just throwing them in this pathway, so I just need to actually move those and get rid of them. But this is, I think that's the plan. I think I'll put some summer squash over here and probably try and put some summer squash here and just try and fill this area in with something, and then hope and pray that it does something. But this is crazy right here. This is where the collard greens were, and there's like hundreds and hundreds of baby collards everywhere because I let these go to seed. So this one's of significant size. Do you see this? So maybe I'll try and dig some of those up for later. I believe this is the, let me try and I think this is the Georgia Southern Collard variety. Maybe. We shall see, because I think that's what was mainly at the end here. But there you go. Now, I could honestly just kick myself for not planting more of these. We pulled our first carrot, and it tasted bitter. And I was like, oh my goodness, I shouldn't have planted it. It was too hot. And then I pulled a couple more carrots, and they were really good. So I don't know what was up with that first carrot. It was like randomly growing over there by itself. But it was, the others have been pretty good. And so these are half-long carrots. And like I said, I could just kick myself for not planting more. But I'll go ahead and pull one up so you can see. Oh, that one's a little freaky looking, but that's life. And I know that looks a little crazy, looks a little wild, but honestly, they're so good. I am so happy with the carrots, and for the most part, they've looked really good. that's just, that's a bad example. But seriously, I'm really happy with these. And I did read that you can eat these greens, so people eat them like collard greens, so we'll probably do that. So we should come in here and pick them, because this one here is trying to flower. And I do know, let me see if I can get it to focus. I do know that these are in the Queen Anne's lace family, so it should have some pretty flowers. But they are, I believe they're biannuals, and if you wanted to save seed, you have to wait a year and leave them in the ground, but I'm not 100% sure about that. The onions are looking really good. I'm really happy with the onions. They just look so good. These red ones, they're bulbing up really nicely. They're still growing strong. They haven't really suffered from the heat too much. Someone online's onions just fried in this heat that we've had, and so I'm really grateful that ours did not do that. Because I've been really nervous about this, because this is our first time ever planting onions. And we harvested our like sweet onions, but those onions over there, and I will actually walk over there, the onions over here have been doing really well. They haven't looked poor at all, and I do see some falling over going on in here, and they might be a little on the small side, but to be honest, I'm okay. I'd rather have small onions or a large number of small onions than no onions at all. And so there's another one that's fallen over, so I'll give these some time, a little bit more time before I pull them up, but they're starting to fall over. So the garlic's a little strange. It's almost like not all of it formed a bulb under there. So I know with garlic, a really good rule of thumb that I kept reading online was that wait until 50% of it is dead and then pull it. And so I would dare say that this one has 50% of it dead. And when you go to pull them up, that's what they look like. So I don't know if it's because I did plant these in January, so maybe it just didn't get cold enough for them to create bulbs. I definitely think that could play a huge role into it. But like I said, if I pull up another one, it's the same deal. So what we'll do is probably just, as we need garlic, pick it and eat it. And I've been in the mood for hummus anyways, so maybe we'll make a lot of hummus with this garlic or something. But yeah, that's kind of what the majority. I had a couple of pieces, let's see, I had a couple of pieces that looked really good, but the majority of them look like this, where they didn't really bulb. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on over here. And then I do have a sweet potato from last year that's coming in, and I'm just leaving it. Also, shout out to this gorgeous volunteer petunia, which is just absolutely beautiful. I love it. We've had a bunch of these in the yard this year. Oops. And then this one has just been beautiful. So this is one plant right here. This is how big this is. This is just one plant. So I'm very pleased with this, to be honest. I know it takes up the path, but I just left it, and the base of it is like right here somewhere. Like, I'm actually tempted to look. That's the base in that dark hole somewhere. But anyways, that's what's going on over there. So that is what the garden is looking like here in July. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Feel free to hit that big red subscribe button. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys later. Bye.